Nearly 10 episodes of Chainsaw Man, and it's somehow already filled with controversy. People are calling it mid or a straight up bad anime, and in some instances, garbage. Now, your boy here at the SeaTactics, head of the SeaTactics, by the way, is all about discourse, and I'm no stranger to dealing with toxic fan bases. I mean, I've been brigaded a couple times recently by a banned Attack on Titan subreddit, among other people, so this video is not about Attack on Titan, but Chainsaw Man, as I've gotten a lot of comments recently from probably concerned trolls, but also some legitimate comments from people who don't like certain things about Chainsaw Man. So we're going to break down these comments and tackle some arguments people have against Chainsaw Man and decide for ourselves, are they right? And if you're new to the channel, join my Discord. There you can chat with me, and I mean that too. I actually try to interact with people on my Discord server. So join now, or I'll probably just cry or something alone with... So, let's dive into the first comment, and it's, as always, a super controversial topic, so what do they have to say? They said the CGI animation was bad. To the point, I suppose. Either way, thank you for the comment, Ultralight. This comment was from my episode 1 video of Chainsaw Man, and he wasn't the only one to mention CGI. Cars and Sports 123 also said the CGI was inconsistent and distracting. Josuke Seta, as well, echoed the same comments as the CGI wasn't doing it for them. However, for every comment I saw criticizing the CGI, I did see a multitude more praising the direction. So what is happening here? Is the CGI good? Is the CGI bad? Is Chainsaw Man the worst anime ever and MAPPA should be shut down? Well, I don't have the answer entirely, but I can offer my own viewpoint. The CGI of Chainsaw Man throughout the episodes, in my opinion, has been really well handled. While I can understand many people not liking the CGI of the episodes, I do think there is a clear disconnect with many of the comments we'll see in this video and just around the net. Many of them simply state their opinions as bad, inconsistent, or distracting, and while these are good ways to start, they don't really go any further than a base level statement, so some of them are hard to judge. But after reading a lot of these comments, I've come to a conclusion. In fact, maybe even a couple more than I originally thought. While there are many people out there in forums and comment sections saying Chainsaw Man's animation is bad or that it's a bad anime in general, let's just use our brain here. Why not? Is this really true? Well, Chainsaw Man's CGI, to me, just thinking practically, isn't inherently bad, inconsistent, or distracting. In fact, the CGI and Chainsaw Man isn't really even necessarily CGI itself, well, at least in the traditional way you would think. As well, the CGI services the production and animation itself because, let's be real, you cannot tell me this moment right here is bad. Because if that looks bad, then it's doing a huge disservice to the shows which probably actually are bad. For example, if Chainsaw Man is bad CGI, then what is X-Arm? Also, what is good CGI? If your answer is no CGI anime is good, then we've come to the crux of the argument. Chainsaw Man's CGI isn't as bad as you may think, as much as you just don't subjectively enjoy CGI. Which actually is totally fine. I feel as if many people just want something to be CGI at this point so they can complain about it, which leaves the others with legitimate criticisms or subjective opinions on things kinda to be swept under the rug. Because how many times can you hear from someone, CGI is the abomination of the anime industry, before you go, alright fella, sure it is. In other words, this is an argument of subjective appeal and opinion that is being argued as if it were a concrete fact, which is not only counterproductive, but sort of disingenuous if not labeled correctly. It's also bad criticism, because while I don't expect Joe Schmo to write a 5-page dissertation on Chainsaw Man CGI like I'm doing here, I, however, do expect at least a couple of sentences, rather than a blanket statement. We shouldn't be saying things like Chainsaw Man is bad because of CGI, because when we look at those claims, we have to look at reality. Animators and MAPPA aren't going to animate 3 separate chainsaws to fine, almost realistic details. No! They're gonna make CGI that services the art of the scene. This is like saying the Mona Lisa is bad because Leonardo da Vinci didn't draw her pores. By doing this, you're creating an expectation which just cannot be met. You're operating in a perfect scenario which can never exist. That as well, we have the claims from many of the people on the internet that implies it's because, well, simply for existing in the form of CGI that it's bad. Stating the obvious, these are two different categories which require a balanced and nuanced argument. But, once again, let's practice some pragmaticism. Chainsaw Man has detailed and exquisite CGI models, amazing CGI animation with fluid movement, and mocap. Incredible moment-to-moment direction for the action, and clearly the directors and producers are skilled because they know when and when not to use CGI. I'd arguably say that Chainsaw Man wouldn't be possible in the current climate of anime production if it were 2D and just trying to emulate what they did with the CGI as is. The amount of time that would take and the gain you get out of it would likely be suicide for any studio, especially ones like MAPPA that have faced continued scrutiny for the handling of staff. It's the equivalent of asking a blind man to see. It's not possible, unless you took the time to invent cybernetics. Cyberpunk 2077, baby! I think the best comment to illustrate this is one I got from Joseph Ellis in one of my recent Chainsaw Man videos. People who expect 0% 3D CGI have unrealistic expectations and need to touch grass. It is going to be the future of animation years down the line. Sure, it's not perfect, but neither has 2D in the past either, and from what we got, the 3D is some of the best I've seen. I could argue that we, as an audience, aren't ready to see Fujimoto's work adapted onto the screen due to some of the childish beliefs that always have to use supreme 2D animation. But I think many fans will still be able to appreciate what we have. You can tell there was a lot of care behind this, and the people making it want to give it all the love it needs. And then Eddie Min replies with, this is probably like the green screen issue. It's not the technology, but how it's used. If it sticks out, you're doing it wrong. Great example is Spider-Man Into the Multiverse. They use layers of different techniques, but the end result was seamless and beautiful. These comments illustrate just why Chainsaw Man and CGI isn't bad inherently. It's undeniably the future of animation, because there is going to come a point where CGI is going to look exactly like 2D. A lot of the CGI comments against Chainsaw Man really seem like gatekeeping elitists trying to say something is bad because it's not the same as their preferred thing. Almost sort of like console wars, though I can't decide which is more childish. Like I said, I can understand if you don't like Chainsaw Man because you don't like to watch CGI. Not going to argue a preference. However, the people that think this aren't commenting things like Chainsaw Man is garbage because of CGI, they aren't commenting at all. They're enjoying their lives, watching something else entirely, not even thinking about this series. What is so perfect? It lacks music. There's hardly any background music or OST during any scene. Animation is pretty fire, but it was dry because of the lack of music. MAPPA should learn from Studio Pierrot with how they've handled Bleach, 1000-Year Blood War. Thanks for the comment, Parfait Cell. The more tasty version of Perfect Cell, I suppose, of course. A villain even Yancha could probably beat. I think this comment brings up an interesting criticism around music in anime that I don't get to discuss often. Does Chainsaw Man not have enough music, and how important is music to a scene in an anime? Chainsaw Man's musical arrangement is, in my opinion, pretty much perfectly executed. I say this because not every episode or series even needs music. There are entire movies without music at all. It's not as if it's needed. Hell, there are even episodes of Attack on Titan I've covered on this channel that use almost zero music, and that series is known for its amazing score. It's an artistic choice, and one that I think was the correct one. While I adore watching Bleach, especially its new season, I think comparing Chainsaw Man to it doesn't make much sense. Chainsaw Man, while being a dark shonen, is just more dark and grounded in tone than Bleach. I'd compare Chainsaw Man to Attack on Titan or Vinland Saga than Bleach. Not that I don't like Bleach, One Piece, or Fairy Tail. One of these are obviously not the same. It's just, I just don't think that comparison really works. So, with Chainsaw Man, I don't really feel it needs as much music as, say, Bleach or Attack on Titan because of one aspect: the heavy art direction. For the most part, you don't need a rich orchestral experience when all you have to do is take one look at Denji, Power, or Makima, or even Katana Man, and realize what's going on. You don't need those feelings conveyed to you, and I think even Parfait Cell would agree with me that they get the mood and tone just from the dialogue and art to some degree. Though, I'll also say that eventually, Chainsaw Man will have to have those moments Parfait Cell is looking for almost certainly because it is anime, it's a medium of art like any other, and I can't foresee them not using scores later down the road even more than they already have with most recent episodes. Whether that be episode 12 or 11 or 24, to put it as simply as possible. I can understand Parfait Cell if their expectation is Bleach, but I don't think we should expect Bleach from Chainsaw Man. Not every anime needs a rich score. Some anime absolutely do. But it's clear if you look at Chainsaw Man as its own entity and not comparing it to Bleach, then yes, the score is absolutely perfect. I think a better comparison, and if Parfait Cell or anyone else who agrees with their stances here to watch, maybe compare it to something like Monster, Vinland Saga, or Attack on Titan. These series don't have heavy scores, and I think are somewhat more comparable in that regard to Chainsaw Man. Do I think Parfait Cell is making a hot take? Well, I think the true meaning of that term is sort of lost in this day and age. Nah, I just think Parfait Cell really likes their scores in anime, and that's totally fine. Should they take lessons from Studio Pierrot, however? Maybe they already do. Maybe they should take a lesson from me on how to create hot, sexy, and beautiful chibi characters with stocky legs and distinct expressions. So, join my Patreon and become a patron. It's a good place, I think it's a good place to put that. Let's be honest about Chainsaw Man though, this series is extremely overhyped anyways, and I don't mean that as a negative, but literally. It has so much hype, I can absolutely make a cheesy it's over 9,000 joke, and most likely get away with it. However, I will not. For now. So with this amount of monumental hype, there will always be detractors. It's the freaking internet. You can say a fact and someone will try to fight you about it. But the reality is that anime will never truly be treated fairly and balanced because it's MAPPA and because it's popular. I think a lot of hate Chainsaw Man gets is because of working conditions at the studio. But in reality, Chainsaw Man will probably never be truly treated fairly and balanced because it's MAPPA and because, well, it's popular. I think a lot of hate Chainsaw Man gets, actually though, is because of working conditions at the studio. Even then, I do feel like, while yes, this is a thing to keep tabs on, and people will certainly not forget that, it's not as if the people in charge do not realize these things either. They gave their staff raises, and they're hunting down new talent for their studio. They're offering even them better benefits and better wages. This is something that I think is reasonable. It sets the precedent that by signing up to work at MAPPA, you're going to be put through the ringer, but you're also going to get paid, at the very least. An above average wage, of course. Though, not gonna lie, it seems like anything MAPPA covers, there is always a cloud of negativity that follows. Remember when supposedly MAPPA killed Attack on Titan and the staff received death threats despite it being one of the best seasons critically speaking to this day, if not the best? Seems like ever since then, there are just a lot of people who hate MAPPA. So, there will never be a unified response that's positive for Chainsaw Man. People will always say things like CGI bad, just as they have a millionth times before, and a myriad of other excuses. But come on, guys! Is Chainsaw Man really a bad anime, or do you just not like certain things about it? We all, surprise, have biases, and I'm certainly biased towards liking Chainsaw Man because, well, I like it. But you can have a bias as well while also having a fair and balanced critique. Though thankfully, many people seem to understand this, as I can go through the comments with all of my Chainsaw Man videos and see people actually get it. Some people have expressed clearly why they don't like CGI, and I love them for that all the same. But let's make one thing clear, I'm not your buddy, pal. So, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Chainsaw Man is a bad anime? That it's mid or overrated? Do you think the CGI is bad? What's your thoughts on the score? If you enjoyed this style of video, please drop a like and leave a comment because I really enjoy reacting to your opinions, and as well, get subscribed to never miss a Chainsaw Man video. Thanks for watching, bye-bye.